Hello children, hope you all are all fine. Let's see to a poem that talks about peace. Though we are living in a peaceless world, let's hope for peace and prosperity. Now we're going to see to a poem called No Men Are Foreign, written by James Kirkup. This James Falconer Kirkup is from the 1918 to 2009. He was an extraordinarily prolific writer in many genres. What do you mean by prolific? Prolific means producing a lot. And what is genres? Genres is a particular type or style of literature, art, music, film that we can recognize because of its special characters. Now I gave you the title, that is No Men Are Foreign. What do you mean by foreign? Have you all heard this foreign? Foreign? Very often we hear this foreign. I'm going to foreign, I'm going abroad. Have you all heard that? Foreign? What do you mean by foreign? Foreign is belonging to a country that is not your own. Now you are an Indian. When you talk about another person who belongs to another country, he is a foreigner to you. That's what a foreigner is. Foreigner is a person who belongs to a country that is not your own. We are Indians, but the others for us are foreigners. The other country people are foreigners. Now we are going to see this beautiful poem written by James Kirkup, and let's see what he means in this poem. He says that no men belong to another country, it seems. He wants to say that all the men are same, all are equal. He wants that brotherhood, to bring that universal brotherhood. So he's trying to tell that in his poem. So that's nice, right? So the poet wants to tell us that everyone in this world is same. All of us eat, we live, we die the same way, isn't it? And we also enjoy all the resources of this nature, the resources that is like the sunshine, the air, the water, everything is the same. But why do we call ourselves other people or foreigners? Why is there a lot of problems, lot of battle, war, difficulties? Why is that discrimination, hatredness? So that's what he means to say. So we can also say that it is a poem that talks about peace. Let's see. It's a beautiful poem. Come on, let's get into the poem. Now turn with me to page number 80. Yes, are you ready? Remember, no men are strange, no countries foreign. Beneath all uniforms, a single body breathes. Like ours, the land our brothers walk upon is earth like this, in which we all shall lie. See children, the first line says, the poet says that no men are strange. What do you mean by strange? Strange means unknown. Every land and all the men are known to you. They are not strange. And no country is foreign, he says. No country is foreign. He says, you know why he tries to say this? He just wants to remove the borders from the earth. He doesn't want any border. See, every country has its own border, right? Now, India has got its own border. You must have seen the map. It's got a shape and it's got a border, right? So, he says that no country should have these borders. It should all be removed, he says. Only then we can feel that all the other countries, the whole land, is our own land. Yes or no? So that everyone will be free or feel free to move around. So the poet wants to say that the whole earth is one, and all the people who are living in or on the earth belong to what? Belong to the human race. We are all humans. See, he also says, the second line says, beneath. What do you mean by beneath? Beneath means under. Beneath means what? Under. All of them are wearing uniforms. He talks about the soldiers of different countries wearing the uniform. What actually differentiates them is their uniform, isn't it? That they belong to different countries. But you should remember one thing. Beneath all uniforms, that is inside the uniform, who is wearing that uniform? The uniform is worn by the human beings. And though the uniforms look different, the man inside, or the soldiers, the men, those who are wearing the uniform, are all human beings and they are same. God has made all of us in a very similar manner. All of us, all the men and all the people on this earth, all of us have head, eyes, nose, hands. We breathe the same way. All of us have legs to walk, isn't it? And he also says that all the soldiers are our brothers. And all of us should walk upon the same Mother Earth, isn't it? And all of us will die and will lie. Lie means will go to the grave or will be laid down. We will be buried in the grave in the same earth. Don't you think so? Yes, right? So that's what the first stanza says. He just says that no men are strange and no country is foreign. Maybe the uniforms look different, but all that inside that uniform or beneath the uniform, everybody has the same kind of a body and all of them breathe. We are all belong to the human race. So they are all like our brothers. We walk together on this earth. And one day we are going to die and shall lie in the grave in the same earth. That's what he means. They too, aware of sun and air and water, are fed by peaceful harvests, by war's long winters starved. Their hands are ours, and in their lines we read a labor not different from our own. Now see children, they too. Can you see the stanza begins like this? They too. This they refers to whom do you think? It refers to those people who belong to the other countries. And we call them what? We call them foreigners. and we discriminate them, or we find difference in them, and so we fight with them, we make war with them. Right? The poet says that, nature has given all the blessings to all the people, just like how you and I enjoy. Everyone gets sunlight, everyone gets air, and water is also measured or given to all of us in the same manner. This means that God does not differentiate between people, or He does not show any difference to the different countries. See, all of us do farming, right? Agriculture is the main source or the main occupation. When? During the time of peace. When there is peace, when there is no war, life is so happy and so fine, so relaxed. And what do? We eat the things that we get from nature. He also adds, he says that the way we starve during the wars, it is unnecessary, right? Why do we have to starve? When God has given us given such a beautiful life, we can live a life happy. It's because there are boundaries all over. So what do? We try to make war with the others. We fight with the others. We battle. And we starve. And also during winter time, it is the same. Isn't it? For the other countries. Even sometimes they don't get food during winter. He wants to say that the foreigners who belong to the other country are the same like us. The poet also says that their hands are also like our hands. They work very hard just as you do. He's giving examples to tell the reader that there is no difference in any of us, or there is no difference in the people belonging to another country. There's no difference in us and the people belonging to another country. So he emphasizes the same thing from the beginning. He says there is no difference in us and the people belonging to another country. Got it? Let's see further what he is trying to convey. Remember, they have eyes like ours that wake or sleep, and strength that can be won by love. In every land is common life that all can recognize and understand. Now the poet is conveying something else in this paragraph. You see, he wants us to remember something. He wants us to keep something in mind about the people of another country, or about the foreigners, you can say. We always have the feeling, or we tend to think that others are always, or our neighbors, you can say, or the other country people, the foreigners, are always our enemies. That's how we see them. But we don't remember, or we forget something. You know what? That God has given, or He has made us, created us similar in appearance like them, or they are created, you can also say this way, that they are also created like us. God has given them eyes as we have? We open our eyes when we are awake. Don't you think so? And we close them when we are asleep. Do they also do the same thing? Yes. And similarly, He has also given them strength, which we can win through love. He says that in every country, in every land, there's something common. What's that very common there? Or common here? Or common all over the world? Or common in the whole universe? It is life. Life. He talks about life. What is life? That all things are living. We can also remember or think, and we should understand their feelings and also realize that they are also like us. Only then, we will not fight with the others, or we will wage war. There will be no wars. There will be no fights. So he insists on something very, very important. He says we should always remember that they are also created as same as we are. Got it, children? Yes. Let us remember, whenever we are told to hate our brothers, it is ourselves that we shall dispossess, betray, condemn. Remember, we who take arms against each other. The poet says that we should remember one more thing. See, let us remember, he begins this para like that. Let us remember that whenever, we are told by someone to hate a person who belongs to a different country, and to think or to see them as our enemy, or whenever we see them or we think the others are our enemies, we do nothing but we actually cheat ourselves. Dispossess means deprive. What is the meaning of dispossess? Dispossess means deprive. So what do? We cheat ourselves. We betray ourselves. Betray is cheat. Dispossess is deprive ourselves. We condemn ourselves. He also says, don't have all these negative thoughts. Don't ever feel or don't ever think or see somebody as an enemy. During the war, what happens? Both the sides or both the parties, they have to lose and they must bear the loss. They will lose. What help is this war going to give us, children? War is not going to help us in any way. So we should not fight, or we should not think or have a negative feeling about the other countries and try to fight with them or wage war with them. He says, when you try to take a weapon, what are the weapons that those days they used You know what the weapons are. Those days they used bow and arrow. These days they use guns and missiles. You should always remember that when we are trying to hate, or when we are trying to fight, when we are trying to see the others as enemies, there's nothing that we are going to gain, but we are going to lose. So remember that one thing he says. Let's see to the next paragraph. It is the human earth that we defile. Our hells of fire and dust outrage the innocence of air that is everywhere our own. Remember, no men are foreign and no countries strange. Now we have come to the last stanza of the poem, and let's see how the poet concludes the poem. Now he talks about, or he says, he conveys that we should keep in mind that whenever we take a weapon against somebody, to kill somebody, when we take the weapon and when we kill them, and when those bodies fall on the earth, it makes the earth, it defiles the earth. So what do you mean by defile? Defile means makes it dirty. It defiles the earth, yes. So when there is war, what does the war actually bring? What is the main thing during the war? What can you see during a war? It is only bloodshed, fire, death, starvation, peacelessness, isn't it? And when people are killed and when the dead bodies fall on the earth, it defiles the earth, or it makes the earth impure. It makes it dirty. And also, during the war, the shooting of the gun, bomb blast, all this, what happens is the smoke comes out of it. And the air around, or the air that is everywhere, that air is given by God as a gift. It's our own. And what do? What happens? The air becomes impure because of war. So the poet wants to convey a message that we should not indulge ourselves or fight or indulge ourselves in war. And so what does he do? He actually brings the same lines that has been written in the first stanza, but a little bit of difference. What is it? He says in the first paragraph, he says that remember, no men are strange and no countries foreign, he says. But here when he concludes, he says, no men are foreign and no countries strange. I think you have understood the lesson. Now let's see to the poetic devices. The first poetic device, let's see to the rhyme scheme. Do you think, is there any rhyme scheme? No. So the entire poem is written in free verse. So there is no rhyme scheme in the poem. Now let's come to alliteration. What is alliteration? The repetition of a consonant sound in two or more closely placed words. Isn't it? Now come on, try to find the alliteration. See to stanza 1. Any guesses? Could you find? Yes. In stanza 1, it is body breathes. See the second line, body breathes. And which consonant sound gets repeated here? B sound is repeated. Come on, let's go to stanza 2. Stanza 2, it is, where can you find? Anywhere? Was winter. Yes, was long winter is there, isn't it? So, which sound, consonant sound is getting repeated here? It is W. Now let's go to the next poetic device. Let's see the next one. Ready? The next one is metaphor. So this is comparison. Let's see to the comparison. It's again in stanza 1. Uniform refers to the military of different countries. Uniform refers to the military or the army people, the soldiers of different countries. And next is stanza 2. War's time is compared to the winter season. See, the war time is compared to what? Compared to winter season. The next one is repetition. See, this repetition is used in more or less the whole poem. The entire poem has the repetition. You know the word remember. See how many times it gets repeated is. It gets repeated 5 times in this poem. And also, I told you, right? We saw in the first stanza that no men are strange, no country is foreign. And the same thing is being repeated in stanza 5. In a little difference, but it is getting repeated. That no men are foreign and no countries strange. So this is repetition that is seen. It's another poetic device that has been used in the poem. Now let's go to the next one. The next is enjambment. And what's enjambment? The lines of the poetry which has or which runs without using any kind of punctuation to indicate a stop. So you know what enjambment is. See now in stanza 1, you see line 2, 3 and 4. Beneath all uniforms, a single body breathes like ours. The land our brothers walk upon is earth like this, in which we all shall lie. So there's no punctuation, there's no stop there. There's no punctuation mark to indicate a stop. So it is enjambment. Come to stanza 2, line 3. Can you see line 3? Yes, and their hands are ours, and in their lines we read a labor not different from our own. The same line, see, has no punctuation, there's no stop. That same line 3 and 3 alone. Okay, now let's come to stanza 3. In stanza 3, line 1, 2 and 3 is, remember they have eyes like ours that wake or sleep, and strength that can be won by love in every land is common life. Can you see? Yeah, now let's come to stanza 4. In stanza 4, it is line 1 and 2. Let us remember, whenever we are told to hate our brothers, it is ourselves. Right? Now let's come to the last stanza. Stanza 5, it is line 2 and 3. Our hells of fire and dust outrage the innocence of air that is everywhere our own. So I think we have seen to the enjambment in the poem. So all the poetic devices are covered, and I hope you all have understood the poem. And have you all enjoyed the poem, children? Yes. Now what you're going to do is you're going to read the poem aloud, okay? So that you will get the practice of reading. Thank you very much. Let's recall the whole poem, okay? No men are foreign. Now, how does the poem begin? It begins like no men are foreign, and it also ends with the same line. That's what we saw, isn't it? What does the first stanza say? It says that remember, no men are strange and no countries foreign. What is the poet trying to emphasize on? What is the fact that he gives? He says that all the people, those who are living on this earth, are all what? He emphasizes on telling that we are all the same. We are all the same. We draw the borders. We have drawn the fence. We have built the borders. He doesn't want that. He doesn't want boundaries, walls, because God has created all of us in the same way. That's what he says, isn't it? And he also says in the second paragraph, when we are alive, we walk on this earth. We live on this earth. And when we die, what happens? We will lie in our graves. Lie is what? We are put in our graves in the same earth. When we live, we walk upon it. And when we die, we are buried. That's what he means to say. We are all human beings under or inside or beneath the uniform, he says. You remember the first paragraph. And he also gives a similarity. What is that similarity? He says that all of us enjoy good food when there is peace. But if there is war, what is going to happen to us? We are going to starve, and also in winter time. So he compares this winter time. Now the next paragraph, he says, all of us have the hands to work. Not the next paragraph, the same paragraph it is. We are all given hands to work. Don't you think so? Yes. So all of us do work, we labor. What is labor? Hard work. What is labor? Hard work. So all of us are very similar. All of us have hands which we use to do a lot of hard work. And the next paragraph he comes to, he says, see God's creation. He has given us eyes. which remains open when we are awake. But as it is for us, the same it is for the others. Our eyes close when we are asleep. He also says that whenever we hate the other people, or when we hate someone, it is not hating them. Instead, he says, we deprive ourselves, we betray ourselves, we condemn ourselves. What is that betray? We cheat ourselves. That's what he means to say. Right? We dispossess. Dispossess means deprive ourselves. So all this will happen when we show that hatredness to someone. It is not hating someone. If we hate someone, we hate ourselves. And also he says not to pick or to take the weapons against somebody. When you use the weapons against somebody, what does he try to say? He really feels bad for it. He says, we pollute the earth. How do we pollute the earth? When we kill somebody, there's bloodshed, innocent bloodshed. For no reason, people die. So when there is bloodshed, what happens is the whole earth becomes impure, it becomes dirty, it gets polluted, not only because of bloodshed, it gets polluted because of the weapons that we use. The air gets polluted, the water gets polluted. So many things happen. We lose our lives. So what do we gain just because of fighting? We don't gain anything. Instead, we lose everything. So that's what the poet finally feels for what is happening in this world. Only dead bodies will be found. Isn't it? So that's what he says. Why do we have boundaries? Why do we hate each other? Why is there discrimination? Why is difference shown to the other people? Why are we like this? But God does not want us to be so, because He has created all of us in a same manner. Don't you think so, children? Yes. So I think you have understood the poem very well, and the rhyme scheme here, the literary devices, we do not have rhyme scheme. There's alliteration, I told you. There's metaphor, repetition, and enjambment. Isn't it? Okay, now tell me the meaning. Can you give me the meaning for beneath? Beneath means under. Strange. Strange means unknown. And then the meaning of dispossess. Dispossess means deprive. Defile. What do you mean by defile? Defile means make dirty or pollute. Outrage the innocence of. Outrage the innocence of means violate the purity of. The purity is totally gone. There's absolutely no peace. So he is asking us not to see anyone a foreigner. Instead, all of us should always remember that he or she is also a human being like us, and we have to love everyone. We should not hate anyone. So it's a beautiful message that the poet has given us. And you know who the poet is? The poet is James Kirkup. This poem, No Men Are Foreign, is written by James Falconer Kirkup. Thank you very much, children.